From struggles to strong women. The broken violin. There are moments in life that completely change a person's destiny. This is one of those stories. Under the bright lights of New York, at the peak of fame and success, Taylor Swift had a quiet ritual before her concerts, reading letters from fans. Among the thousands she received, one stood out. The paper was old and wrinkled, the handwriting shaky. Taylor didn't know who it was from, but one thing was clear. Behind these words was a deep pain, a desperate call for help. The first lines of the letter hit Taylor right in the heart. "Dear Taylor, my hands are shaking as I write this. Music used to be my escape, but now the only thing I hold is a broken violin." As Taylor kept reading, she fell into a deep silence. The letter was from a young girl named Lena. She wrote about how she had been fighting against the odds, dealing with pressure from her family, suffering from abuse, and trying to hold on to life through music. But what stood out the most was how she described her old, broken violin as a symbol of hope. Want more inspiring stories like this? Subscribe to Fame Chronicles 2025 for more. Singing for thousands of fans on stage was amazing. But sometimes there were moments like this, moments where she had the chance to truly change someone's life. Taylor decided she wouldn't let this one pass by. A few weeks later, she stood in the middle of an empty concert hall the night before a show. In her hands was a brand new gleaming violin, bought just for Lena. Her eyes stayed fixed on the door, waiting for the girl to arrive. The door opened, and in walked a frail, nervous young girl, but with a flicker of hope in her eyes. Taylor smiled and took a step forward. Lena clutched her worn, broken violin tightly. Taylor spoke gently. "Lena, I read your letter. I really wanted to meet you, and I think this is for you." She handed over the new violin. Lena's hands shook. Her eyes welled up with tears, and she whispered, "Is this real?" Months later, Lena's first performance day had arrived. At an event personally arranged by Taylor Swift, Lena was about to step onto the stage. The lights dimmed, the audience held their breath, and Lena, now stronger and more confident than ever, took her first step onto the stage. Backstage, she took a deep breath. Her heart was pounding. Every fear, every burden from her past started to melt away under the weight of the stage lights. That night wasn't just a performance, it was proof that she had won her battle. She gripped her violin, lifted the bow to the strings, and as the first note rang out, the entire hall fell into a stunned silence. Don't miss more inspiring stories like this. Check out Fame Chronicles 2025. What could be more meaningful than witnessing someone's destiny change? Lena turned toward Taylor and gave a small, grateful nod. Then she touched the bow to the strings and released the purest melody into the world. The thunderous applause from the audience proved how powerful this transformation had been. But the most meaningful applause came from Taylor. Her eyes filled with tears. It wasn't just about giving Lena a violin, it was about giving her belief, a chance, and a path forward. That's what truly changed everything. That night backstage, Taylor hugged Lena and whispered in her ear, "You were always strong. I just reminded you." Lena's tears rolled down her cheeks, making the moment even more real. Taylor looked up at the sky and made a silent promise. "There are more Lenas out there, and I will fight for them too." Years later, Lena wasn't just a young girl anymore. She had become an artist who inspired millions. The door Taylor had opened for her, she was now opening for others. Every time she stepped onto the stage, she remembered the broken violin she once held. And in that moment, she knew Pain doesn't last forever. Just like music, life always finds a way to begin again.